I remember when I was 12 years old, I found a brown leather jacket in the closet which I shared with my mom. It fit me perfectly. From the moment I saw it, I immediately knew what I needed to do. I grabbed my dad's sun hat and the family Sony Handycam and I started cooking. I was cooking up something special. On that day, I made perhaps the greatest Facebook profile picture of all time. Omar Ben Sharif and the Curse of the Clueless. This was my Facebook profile picture for a couple years. Yeah. I wish I could say I don't know what possessed me to make this photo, but I'm just that type of dude. I always have been. Here's some of my other finest works. And these are just the ones that I didn't delete. I had many other masterpieces that I deleted because I thought they were too cringe, even for me. Fortunately, at 25 years old, my Photoshop skills have only improved, so I have recreated them for your viewing pleasure. I remember after I posted that Indiana Jones picture, some kid at school was giving me shit for it, and I wish I could say I had the hardest comeback of all time and I embarrassed the shit out of him. I just shrugged and walked away. I thought about it a lot afterwards, and I basically bullied myself out of ever doing anything like that ever again. Omar Ben Sharif and the Curse of the Clueless was my last great profile picture, and that is sad. That's really sad. I let other people's opinions stop me from doing something that I loved. And when I stopped doing the stuff that I loved, I stopped loving myself. I lost all the confidence I had. I expressed myself and I did something which brought me joy, and someone else told me that it made me look like a loser. So I stopped doing it completely. I couldn't express myself in the same way that everyone else did it. All the shit that came natural to me was just cringe. I tried to copy what everyone else was doing. My heart just wasn't in it. Sounds corny, but it's true. I couldn't trust myself to express myself in a way that wasn't cringe. So I completely stopped. Now that is cringe. Thankfully, I eventually realized it. I've never felt a strong need to do what everyone else does. Sure, if everyone else is doing something, then it's probably the meta. But I like learning to do stuff my own way, organically and shit. If I can try something different, I may as well do it. Evasive thoughts are there for a reason, right? And yeah, sometimes it gives me good ideas and sometimes it doesn't. The good thing about being cringe though is that you really test your limits. I remember when I was 17, I went to a party and I was completely out of control. This was my first time being properly drunk. I broke my friend's table. I was running around screaming like a retard. I cock-blocked some of my friends. I made everybody feel uncomfortable. Some people that I just met that day had to sit me aside and tell me that I was scaring the hoes away. To this day, I look back at that party and the cringe physically hurts. But it taught me a lot on how to conduct myself in social environments. And I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't make a complete fool of myself. Same with my Photoshop pictures. Sure, it was cringe, but I got really good at Photoshop. Looking back, that shit wasn't even that cringe. It was pretty sick. Today, I don't really care about looking cringe because I've had so many chances to train in 400 times the Earth's normal cringe. And when you deep it, everything is cringe. Cringe refers to feelings of embarrassment or discomfort caused by awkward, inappropriate, or overly earnest behavior. Overly earnest meaning you try too hard. By that same logic, building the pyramids was cringe. Discovering flight was cringe. Michael Jackson was cringe. You know the guy who built the Taj Mahal, dedicated it to some woman he was in love with? If that isn't the cringest shit you've ever heard, cringe that millions of people pay to see every year. Everything is cringe until everybody likes it. Cringe is a dumb and all-encompassing word used to describe something which is hard to watch. It could be hard to watch for a million reasons, but saying something's cringe just hits, I guess. Sometimes the feeling of cringe is because you want to control other people's perceptions of you. But when you try to control other people's perceptions of you, that's when you let other people control you. Shut up, bird. Some people are just cool. Everything they do is cool, calm, and collected. It's as if they're a fictional character. And I am not. Nobody is. We're all just trying to keep up appearances. The guy you idolize for having a perfect life, he's deeply unhappy because nobody knows the real him. Everyone just knows the image he's crafted for other people to see. And if they did know the real him, then maybe they wouldn't like him. There's nothing scarier than showing people who you really are, and then getting rejected for it. Nobody who lives a fulfilling life and minds their own business is sitting there thinking that anything is cringe. It's always the people who care way too much about what other people think. If you find yourself saying stuff is cringe a lot, maybe you're just surrounded by the wrong people. I used to think that I struggled to make friends because I was too cringe, so I stopped being cringe. I went from being cringe and having no friends to not being cringe and having shit friends. Sometimes, Being surrounded by the wrong people can feel lonelier than just being by yourself. Don't stop yourself from being yourself just because it's cringe. Except being a linked influencer, that shit is embarrassing. I know I don't always say things the right way. Maybe I do too much. Maybe I make jokes that don't land. Maybe I say stuff that's annoying. Maybe I scare the hoes away sometimes. But at least I know I'm being completely and genuinely myself. Fuck everyone's idea of what cringe is. There's nothing more cringe than not doing shit that you love because you care about what other people think about you. I have always been cringe.